Hey everyone, my name's Will O'Brien. I'm the Customer Success Director here at CodeScan, and I'm going to talk to you a bit today about maintaining and enforcing development standards for Salesforce developers. So, second, there we go. So I'm going to go through a couple things, go through a bit of an introduction, tell you a bit more about CodeScan, who we are, how long we've been around, what we do. The challenges we try and overcome, how we overcome them, and then I'm going to run you through our tool a little bit to show you some of how we integrate with some of the platforms that are popular today with Salesforce development and DevOps pipelines, and how we can help you with yours. So first, a little bit about CodeScam. So we were founded in 2014 back in Australia. Now we're based in San Diego, California. In that time, since 2014, we've been in constant development, and we're very proud to have a very broad rule set covering about 350 rules for all the major Salesforce languages and configuration. We're trusted by more than 150 customers at this point, covering a lot of different verticals, from government to healthcare to financial. And of course, we're built exclusively for Salesforce. So we're constantly focused in maintaining an up-to-date set of rules for Salesforce's current features. Now, our vision is to empower Salesforce development teams to write better, more efficient, and cleaner code. And how we do that is to apply code standardization. And what I mean by that is the fact that if every developer and everyone dealing with that code is looking at the code in the same way, you have a development velocity that's unrivaled by teams coming at the code with different standards, different views, and expecting different things for what they're seeing. And if you could create this as a common practice, you can really improve that.
Hello, Will. This is one of the hosts. I was wondering if you can adjust your audio. There are some folks who are having a bit of difficulty hearing you.
Oh, okay. How's that? Is that a bit better?
Much better. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thanks for letting me know. All right. Okay, so on to our development challenges. So what we're trying to avoid is this loop here. So we all know in development, we're writing the code, and once we've finished writing the code, we're pushing it to a testing or QA environment. There might be other things between that, but generally, we're testing that code, and if it's not up to scratch, it's pushed back to the developers. And these manual reviews between the development, testing, and QA can take a long time, and that loop can be almost infinite in what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, and manually reviewing that can be, one, unreliable, and two, as I mentioned, take some time. So what we want to do is reduce that loop and reduce the amount of people involved in it. On the right here, you can see a bit of a graph as to how we estimate the costs for those that loop and the time taken to fix it. Of course, these issues being found in production, causing the most interruption to that pipeline. So the way we attack these problems is with a static analysis tool, as I mentioned, completely Salesforce focused, either running self-hosted in your own environment, on our hosted environment, CodeScan Cloud, and within the editor plugins. So being able to catch these issues as close to the development, shifting as far left as possible to maintain confidence in your releases, as close to the developer as the IDE or as a pull request, to be able to gate that and reduce that loop. Now, our customers have shown vast improvement in their developers. In our recent survey, we've shown that 98% of our customers have believed that it helps their developers write higher quality code, reduce their technical debt, and really streamline the code review process. But I'm going to jump into the demo here. I think this is where the bulk of this is, and it should be interesting for everybody. At the end, I'll leave a lot of time for questions. If you have any questions about how it would integrate with your own environment, please don't hesitate to ask. So, for example, I've ducked into CodeScan Cloud here. CodeScan Cloud is our hosted solution, and we've got a lot of improvements on this platform to be able to easily integrate with some simple CI processes into your development process. So we can see these three white rectangles here. We've got a GitHub, Salesforce, and Bitbucket. Now these are three of our out-of-the-box integrations. For GitHub and Bitbucket, we're providing scans of, say, an integration development branch, and we're scanning the pull requests as well as the pushes to that branch to give you an up-to-date view. With Salesforce, we're scanning a production or QA branch as well as the sandboxes behind it to provide a comparative scan to track issues before they are deployed into production. So ducking, let me just jump and drill down a bit further into our GitHub project here. So currently my GitHub project is aimed at my master branch. It's passing my quality checks currently. And in the white section here, we can see my overall count of issues. So we can see my overall count of bugs, vulnerabilities, code smells, which are code quality issues, an estimated level of technical debt, as well as our duplications. Now in the yellow section on the right-hand side here, this is our new code period. And what this is doing is tracking issues that have been created since a certain point. So we know that since my new feature 7 months ago, I have only introduced 7 new code smells to this master branch, which is pretty good, and a 35 minutes of technical debt. So I'm doing quite well on this project. Now, with the next feature that's coming out, where we're going to check that, is in my branch menu here. And so I've got a branch here called brand new issues. And we can see this is a pull request that has been made against my master branch. And we can see that it has 3 new vulnerabilities and 2 new code smells. And based on these issues coming up, the conditions for a failure have been triggered and my pull request has been failed. So as a developer, I already know that based on my pull request scan, my code isn't up to scratch. But we can figure out why. So if I duck into my issues tab, we can start to see the issues that have been added to cause that failure. For example, if I click into one of these issues, we can drill right down and see that when I'm finding this, when I'm accessing BSC here, my custom field, where custom object, we're not checking permissions. So that's checking that straight away. Now, as a manager, if I'm looking at these, I can assign it to a different user. If I don't believe it's an issue, I can mark it as a won't fix or false positive, and also comment. So for example, we got Mike Overhills here who cops all my issues, and we'll just say, tell him to fix this. And now Mike is going to get an email to tell him where the issue is, what it is, and how to fix it. Now, if Mike needs more information on the issue itself, he can duck in here to these 3 little dots next to the issue, and we can see a bit more information about the issue, description, some links to documentation, and an example of the issue itself. Now, when it comes to documentation about the issue, we can see here that these issues are linked to CWE. CWE is the common weakness enumeration, so a selection of software problems that are very common among a lot of different languages. And all of our vulnerabilities, our security issues, are linked to these and linked to this documentation. And what this allows us to do is get a much more accurate view on what's going on in our project here, security-wise and according to certain industry standards. So, for example, in our security reports, we have our OWASP top 10 and SANS top 25, which allows you to see a bit more based on the categories of these standards, where the issues in your code are, and be able to filter them, and of course drill down. As well as being able to see certain graphs based on the maintainability, reliability, and security of your projects. Now, all the issues being found by the tool are out of the box. We supply you with those 350 plus rules and organized into quality profiles, so rule sets that you can use straight out of the box, but they can also be customized to your organization's standards. So as I was mentioning before, the defining those standards is a very important part of this process. So once these standards have been defined, using the out-of-the-box rules, customizing thresholds, severity, and those rule sets between the languages that you have in your org, you're able to define a standard that is now enforced automatically within your GitHub, GitHub or Bitbucket org, GitLab, as well as your Salesforce org and sandboxes. The pass or fail that I mentioned before that is enforcing this can be passed to a lot of different CI tools, including Flosum. It is based on a set of conditions that can be edited as well. For example, the reason that this quality gate here is passing is because I have based it on just my new code features. Now, this allows us to do another very important feature. So we all know that if a code base has been sitting around for a long time, and if code's been being built for a long time, you're going to find issues in it. If it's been going unchecked, it's very probable that it has a lot of issues in it. And what we would like to do is separate the refactoring effort, which we can see on the left side of the screen here, the overall code, from writing new code. So we want to prioritize this standardization and moving forward with these standards and clean code from a refactoring effort. And the way that we do that is basing the quality gate on new code features and new issues that are appearing either in our org or in our pull requests. So based on the questions that Doug had, I might stop there and see if we have any questions.
Okay, yeah, we do have a couple questions. So I will begin with, what is the pricing model for CodeScan? Somebody's wondering if it's by usage credit or license-based.
Sure. So it is license-based. We license on the amount of code in your code block. Your code repositories, either your org or your GitHub. We license specifically on Salesforce languages, not JavaScript, per year. But okay, you can get in touch with us at support@codescan.io to learn a bit more about that.
All right, great. So another one that just came in is, how does CodeScan compare with Apex PMD or Apex Sonar plugin?
So Apex PMD has around 40 rules, and it's a great start, especially for smaller development teams. But CodeScan has a large, well, 350 rules covering a lot more languages. So for example, PMD, you're covering your Apex and I believe some Visual Force, whereas CodeScan covers your Salesforce configuration unit metadata. You have the Lightning scans, Aura components, as well as Lightning Web components, Visual Force, and Apex as well. So it's a much more in-depth tool. Apex Sonar plugin, we cover everything that they do as well as more as well.
Okay. So the next question is, does CodeScan address the security issues found in the code? And if yes, does the scan happen based on system admin profile or based on the customer profiles?
The scan happens based on the system admin profile and addresses the security issues in the code. So for example, the issue that I showed just before, checking permissions before accessing, that is a very basic rule that just checks whether those permissions are being done, not necessarily who the scan is being done by. So it makes sure that you are staying up to date with those best practices and checking, not necessarily a dynamic run as your unit test should be doing.
Okay, gotcha. So next question is, somebody's wondering about SonarQube. Is and the licensing prior or required prior to, or does it come bundled with CodeScan?
So SonarQube is for anyone who doesn't know, is a reporting platform that an open source tool that we built out a lot of our dashboards on. If you have a self-hosted version of CodeScan, we can be hosted in SonarQube. We do not come with the SonarQube license. CodeScan Cloud is built on top, but it does not require a SonarQube license.
All right. Let's see. So my next question is, if I'm managing releases with Flosum, can CodeScan be used as a quality gate within a pipeline? So
Yes,
I know we do have a formal partnership, but I'll let you talk a little bit more about how the integration works between CodeScan and Flosum.
Yeah, for sure. So scans in CodeScan can be run directly from Flosum. There's actually controls and configuration that can be done to pass certain components directly to CodeScan, and then all of the functionality that I just showed you with configuring different quality gates and quality profiles is available right there. So yes.
Awesome. Okay. And I think this might be one of our last ones. This person is wondering about security challenges to integrating with government clients.
Sure. So out of our government clients, I believe I think 3/4 of them use our cloud system. So for some government clients, there's definitely for all government clients, there's definitely a push for security. We've passed all our security reviews with our government clients with flying colors. Some of them do require to check some boxes an on-premise solution. And as I mentioned, using Sonar and the CodeScan plugin, we can provide that functionality in their own environment. So we've managed to keep up with the requirements as far as our government customers go.